Hello everybody, this is Giulia and I'm here to help you with your research project. Follow the guidelines, they're there for a reason. If the brief advises you to focus on one film, don't try to write about 3. If you're stuck and don't know which one to choose, well, don't panic. I should probably tell you to choose your favorite. Don't. Here are some questions to help you with your choice. Is there enough scholarly material on the film you want to write about? Let's say we cannot choose between Death Proof, Kill Bill Volume 1 and Django Unchained. After a thorough research, we found out there isn't enough scholarly material on Death Proof. We sadly have to cut it out. However, there is enough scholarly material on Kill Bill and on Django Unchained. At this point, we're still struggling to choose one. Well, you could go with a simpler choice, Kill Bill, because everybody has written something on Kill Bill. However, the second question is, do you really want to risk repeating somebody else's ideas? Why not focus on something less studied so far? Django! Now that we've chosen which film we want to focus on, we need to decide under what light we want to study it. We simply apply the same process we just used, focusing on theory rather than on film. This time, I will go with the easy choice, the representation of violence in Django Unchained. Now, because I've seen the film, I know there are 2 kinds of violence in Django, extremely crude violence and cartoonish violence. Let's think about our thesis then. A thesis should ideally be an answer to a question. My question is, why are there 2 kinds of violence in this film? We will need more than that. Let's apply a theory we have studied, film and ethics for example. Let's work with the syllogisms. There are 2 kinds of violence in Django Unchained. Crude violence is perpetrated by slavers, while cartoonish violence is perpetrated by the hero. Is one representation more ethical than the other? Why can we watch Django slaughtering slavers, and why do we have to look away when D'Artagnan is torn apart by dogs? Then my question transforms into something like this. Can violence portrayal be ethical? If so, in what ways? The aim of our essay is exploring the ethical issues raised by the representations of violence in Django Unchained. I suppose you all survived part 1. Now let's move on to the actual research process. It's always a good idea to ask lecturers for advice. They are here to help you, so ask and you will be given. If you don't know whom to ask for advice, then have a look at this. If it isn't enough, try with the library catalogue. Please remember that if you're not on campus, you still have access to all the information you need. Just log in using your QMUL username and password. Don't panic if you can't seem to get access to a full text. Sometimes you might have to log in again if the library catalog redirects you to another website. If it isn't enough, Google the name of the text you're looking for. You might find a full text through another website. Tip: look for the magical login by institution. Your student account will open more doors than you could imagine. Try with these websites: JSTOR, Project Muse, Scopus, BBFC. You should also have a look in library catalogs. BFI Library, British Library and Senate House Library will usually have something for you. Just remember to register online and return books. If you're willing to spend money on books like I usually do, have a look on Amazon. Sometimes you can find just what you need for a very small price. Now that you know where to look for scholarly material, let's find out how to research it properly. We will need some keywords. Since we're focusing on Django Unchained and violence, our keywords could be Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino, violence, music, slavery. Now we only need to combine them properly to find what we're looking for. Let's go back to JSTOR. You can obviously apply this method to any online catalogue. Remember to check bibliographies and notes in the text you read. For example, through this article, I found out about this book, in which I found a chapter on Tarantino's use of music in his films. And through this book, I realized there was a whole book on revenge. Learn to skim through texts. You don't want to waste time reading something incredibly interesting but which has nothing to do with your thesis. I know you're watching this video 2 days before your deadline. If it's an online document you need to skim through, look for keywords the same you originally used for your research. You can do this in several ways. With Word and PDF documents, look at this window over here. It's the same for every OS. Or, have a look at this great resource. It will tell you which words appear the most in the texts. Now that we've desperately spent hours staring at our hundreds of resources, let's get rid of some. First things first. If the material you collected doesn't really apply to your thesis, chuck it away for now. Wait. This doesn't mean that this wonderful book by William Ian Miller won't be useful. If there's a sentence that makes perfect sense with your thesis, use it. That's what I did. Evaluate your resources. You might have found a very interesting review which would back up your argument perfectly. However, if it starts with you might want to avoid putting it into your bibliography. If you're not sure, yeah, you got it. More research. Research the authors. They might be specialists who have studied Tarantino or violence or slavery in films since they were your age. To rate, my main tips are: ask lecturers for advice. Follow the guidelines. Look for the login via institution. Use keywords. Look at bibliographies. Evaluate your resources. But most importantly, don't panic.